So I want to ask you guys, looking back on 2020 and, you can kind of reflect on what you've learned about yourself or just about life. But also, what are you excited about? What are you looking forward to in the coming year? Trang, you're nodding your head like, yep, I've got something here.
I'm processing.
Okay.
I think that what has been so exciting for me is that when we were doing the skill corp trips, which are of course physical trips. I think there's always this kind of limit that we have to hit in order to making sure that all of the trips are going well. And of course, trust me, when I do all the bookings, I know what's the it is important in order to have that limit for our the capacity for our work. So actually, starting from 2021, we're switching to definitely a virtual program such as leadership academies, or even something that we're not even know of right now. And I'm just so excited that this is where that we can scale up and provide this product and provide our work to all the people around the world that actually wanting to be a part of this. And I feel like that is not only that is sustainable, but it's also scalable. And I think that's what holds up for us in 2021. And I'm very excited for that aspect.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Trang. And I think I'll add to that with every year in January, we get together as a team and we kind of talk about our big dream for the year, our vision. We create a focus guide with, specific plans and outcomes we're hoping to achieve. And in January 2020, we did have that meeting. And interestingly enough, we kind of got to a point where our vision was so big that we started questioning everything. We were like, what is our impact? How big can this be? What if, and one of the big things we said was, if we could accomplish anything as an organization, what would we accomplish? Let's list it out, write everything. There's nothing too big. And the amount of stuff we wrote was just like pages and pages. I mean, a whole giant whiteboard, right? And we kind of stood back and said, what if we could empower the leaders? Like, what if we were like, that's actually probably 50 different organizations, like the Global Autism Project, to achieve all those things. That's either we start 50 new programs or there's 50 other organizations out there already doing a version of this work. And we said, what if we empower and train the leaders of those organizations to thrive and scale and make an impact? We don't have to do any of that stuff. All we have to do is empower the people already doing it. And that's in a nutshell what we already did as an organization by training and empowering and supporting partners around the world. We took it in that 2020 meeting to a different place altogether by saying, what if we do that with multiple organizations? What if we do that with self-advocacy organizations? And we've got the self-advocates that are already a part of our team who are empowering other self-advocates to grow and scale their organization. And what if we help, the ABA companies we work with, what if we help them grow and scale and, become better working environments so they don't have turnover in the way that they have, and they don't have, unhappy people and unhappy clients? What if we support the music artists that are, creating theater and artistic, creative avenues for people with autism? What if we help them grow and scale? And I think what accidentally happened through the pandemic, which, was a really exciting thing, a really exciting shift, was that we are now kind of doing that. Leadership Academy had to go online because we had no other option. And now we've got this virtual access to communication and collaboration and how to grow and scale your business and how to create a work culture you love. And I think what I'm looking forward to in 2021 is really embracing that opportunity, running with it, and seeing that vision come to life through this entirely new program that we had no plans of launching. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm really excited about is kind of like similar to what Cassie was talking about is the bigness of what we're up to, right? And I think whenever we hit a like a stumbling block or a hurdle or a global pandemic, it's just like, oh, wait a minute, we have to stop and think like, oh, we're just not thinking big enough, right? And so when you can start to think bigger than the circumstances that you're dealing with, then that's when things get exciting. And so that's what I'm excited for in 2021 is what is that going to look like, right? And what like who, like honestly, like who can we be as an organization and as a force in the world that is making an impact, that is bringing humanity along, to to where we want to go, to actually create, like we've created a workplace that we love, like let's create a planet that we love, because we can totally do that too. So that's what I'm excited about.
That's a big one. Liz, what are you excited about?
I'm excited about kind of what Asia was just saying, just that we are excited to see what we're going to create in 2021. We had such a huge list, like Cassie was saying, when we all came together in 2019 for our like annual, like just like back to school kind of like meeting where we're all together thinking of all the things. And we had a huge list, and I feel like we've accomplished some of them, even though we shifted throughout this year. But just seeing what we're capable of, even with like moving to all working remotely, different parts of the world, and just seeing how we were able to create something so like something that's made such a positive impact in the lives of so many, with the Leadership Academy going virtual. It's huge, and it just shows me and makes me excited to see what we can do in 2021, and what we like looking at that list or thinking of that list. I wish we could like share it on YouTube right now, because we had so many things on there. And I think as we've moved through this year, even more ideas have sparked. And every time we meet, we're like, well, what if we do this? And imagine if we do this. And I think it's just we're a team that sees the potential in every opportunity. And I think that just being able to start the new year and saying, hey, this is our year, it's going to be great.
Yeah. Going off of, what everybody's kind of said before, when we came into 2020, just like everybody else, we had a vision for what the year was going to look like. And we were able to host our in-person Leadership Academy in January. We had like 60 people. We all went to a summer camp in Texas. It was great. We had a good time. And then we were gearing up for the trips that were going to go out in February and July. And then it all changed. And we kind of realized as a team that we had been so focused on trying to stay in the box of what we had been, what we had, created ourselves to be, that we couldn't see outside of that box and see all the new possibilities. And then we were just kind of forced, I guess you would say, to look at that, because we couldn't do any of the things that we had created ourselves to be in the way that we thought. And then we just took, a really hard look at our mission and vision, and we were like, we can still accomplish these things in a different way. And so I'm super excited to step into this new year knowing that, we don't have anything, I guess, stopping us from thinking in different ways now. And we know that we can shift and we can do things differently, and that's fine. It's okay. We were so worried, even when we started talking about, having to do programs online. We were like, does that mean that we're going to have to change our name? Like, this is who we are. And I think we, kind of quickly realized, no, who we are is our mission and our vision and our values. And those can be, shifted to work in different ways. Just because we had been doing one thing, for however many years, you don't have to keep doing the same thing. And now that that veil has, lifted from all of our eyes, 2020 was just a year of kind of being pushed into doing it, doing something new, doing something different. And this year we can really be excited about it. And it's not reactive this year. We're able to plan again, which is funny to think about, planning after 2020. But it's just a really great spot to be in, and it's exciting.
Yeah, as you were just talking, Mandy, it got me thinking about how we've all had to learn to be really flexible in 2020, right? And stretch out of those comfort zones, as cliche as it sounds, even though it's kind of our motto and we say it all the time, but like it's been one hell of a year, right? So I'm so excited for, just the new initiatives that we're rolling out, Leadership Academy, this podcast, the impact that we're going to have, the community that keeps growing, and the endless stories that we have to share. And I think through this platform, we have a lot of so many possibilities to be able to reach so many people. So, I'm thrilled. Molly, last words?
Yeah. I'm really excited about 2021. I think, 2020, what really it did for us is it got us present to the inherent uncertainty of life that is actually always there. Now we're just present to it. Life is no more uncertain tomorrow than it was a year ago. It just feels a lot more uncertain. And I think it's gotten us to get to that space where we can still stand in the place of uncertainty, and we can still continue doing what we're doing. And I think just knowing that we've been able to do that through this year has just strengthened all of us, strengthened our work. I remember back in March, I was like, guys, listen, this is kind of like a power outage. And what we all need to do is keep our flashlights on. And there's going to be times over the next couple of months where the batteries die in somebody's flashlight. And so we all need to stay together, and we need to keep our flashlights on. And I think we've done that. We've kept our flashlights on. We've stayed in the room. We've stayed together. We've kept our flashlights on. And some days, people have been dealing with things. On other days, others have been dealing with things. And we've stayed in the room. We've kept our flashlights on. And I'm excited for the power to come back on in 2021. Feels like the power has started coming back on for sure. And, and I think also we generated our own power. When we saw that, like, hey, the power's not going to come back on for a little while, it's like we just generated it and we created it. And what we created in the face of all that has been 2020 just shows me that we can create anything under any circumstances. So for 2021, I'm really excited to see what that means.
All right. Well, any final thoughts? Anything else you guys want to add or talk about before we close out?
I just want to take a moment and acknowledge you, Rachel. Speaking of being flexible, Rachel came to us as a clinician. Rachel is still a clinician. And she said, I have this idea, maybe I could do a podcast. And, we foster innovation around here. And it has been one of the brightest spots, I think, of 2020 to have this every week, to have these conversations, and to do this wrap-up podcast. It was really fun and sort of this trip down memory lane. I wasn't sure I wanted to go down that memory lane, but I'm like, there was so much goodness this year. There really was. And, not to diminish any of the loss and any of the hardships that 2020 have been. And, this team has felt it very closely, but just to acknowledge what this podcast has been, what 2020 has been, and what this episode has been.
Yeah.
You've been watching Autism Knows No Borders. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Also, we'd love to hear from you, so let us know what you think in the comments section. Click here to watch this interview in its entirety. You can also find us on your favorite podcast app. Tune in each week for engaging conversations of how people across the globe are inspiring change and building community. Thanks for watching. Take care.